the divine criminal, a rebel with a cause. There are 5 types of beings that manifest as humans on this planet. The light keepers consist of light conductors with their alpha and beta and assisters. The light resistors have light destroyers with their alpha and beta distractors. Then there are earthbounders. We also have doubles and counter souls, those living in direct conflict with us. Yet they are, in every way, the same as us. Parallel existences, some would call it. My dear, it is a grand, grand fairy tale. There are the many levels that comprise the individual prayers in the human drama, but that is a conversation for a later time. We shall concern ourselves with the matter of spirit. It is difficult for our spirit, which is formless, to exist within the confines of the density of our bodies and the physicality of this plane. It would be, even if conditions were in balance, never mind that they are so out of balance, as they are. As spiritual beings, we constantly struggle with the memory of being formless. And that becomes a desire that can overwhelm us and drive us homeward bound or to insanity. At times, our experiences bring us discomfort and even a feeling of sadness. We come from is. Is an unconditional reality. Here we are subject to a very dense consciousness filled with judgment. The nature of the people is one of condemning each other for differences, rather than praising for originality and sovereignty of thought and perception. For the most part, society sadly bases its perceptions on the appearance of, rather than the essence of. If society considers it fashionable to look a certain way, believe a certain way, and even to speak of spirit in a certain way, thousands, if not millions, will bend to comply to the ideal. If one does not comply, one is usually shunned and thus not accepted. If this individualistic tendency carries over in the consciousness, if you dare to think differently, well, you are really in a pickle. Then you could be dangerous to the norm. Oh, fancy that. A danger to the norm. A danger to conformity. When one is different, one is made an outcast and is turned out into the wilderness to survive alone amongst the beasts of the night. Hopefully, to disappear and die off. If one does not fit the ideal of what is the commonly accepted norm, the temporal standard for beauty, then one is to be ridiculed. Yet beauty is such a nebulous thing, is it not? Even amongst the different cultures of this world, beauty is an enigma. Beauty is an enigma. It is an elusive concept that can only be realized in the eye of the beholder. Creator sees beauty in all things, for all things are an expression of Creator's dreams and desires. You, my dear Angela, are a splendid example of the outcast, the rebel, the unique one. You are the apple in a line of plums, and therefore do not fit into the picture. The countless faces that pass you by each day are little more than slaves to that ideal. They live their lives struggling for someone else's approval. They will never become that ideal because they, in the end, will be but a mirror of what they believe is society's expectation. They will consider themselves less than the ideal, and therefore manifest the lesser but dominating thought of themselves. We must never compromise our true essence and character to please someone else's reality. Never. You have the beauty within your being that is very personal and a gift from Source itself. Your radiance is your individual expression of Source. It is your uniqueness. Without that expression, you would become like a leaf at the mercy of the wind. Eventually, you would cease to be, and your spirit would wither and die. I assure you, beloved one, that when you leave this plane, your difference shall become a glory, choking up again, which shall bathe you in eternal light. Love the self that exists within your heart, and do not strive to please anyone at the expense of yourself ever again. When you place yourself in a position of compromise, you will lose every time. Compromise is an action that can only result in self-destruction. For you negate the ideal that you are and split yourself into fragments. You will never be sure of yourself in a fragmented existence. And all the indecisions. For one part of you will doubt the sensibility of the other. Doubt in this culture in which fear is born and the true self-vision collapses within the confusion of the lower consciousness. It is like a ship without sails, sailing endlessly, helpless into the oncoming elements. God, the source of all things, will never forsake you, for you are a part of that God. God is within you, and you are within God. You are the face, eyes, ears, hands, and heart and spirit of God. That is forever. Love yourself because of you, and for no other reason. That truly is being close to God. That is being as God is. Emphasis on the is. God, the source of all, loves the isness of being for the sake of the is. God loves all that is, for all that is God's creation, and thus is an expression of divine thought. The Nagal has returned. Through the Eye of the Shaman. Aho.